Dr. Andrew Johnson, how are you?
You've
got three data sets, the original data, ACORN 1, ACORN 2. The mean difference between ACORN 1 and ACORN 2 is 0.23 degrees, and the mean difference between ACORN 2 and the original data is 0.43 degrees, the mean data. In other words, homogenisation has increased the amount of warming since 1910 by over 50%. Would you agree with that?
So, Senator, just to clarify, you're talking about the unadjusted temperature records?
Yes. Yep.
And the ACORN 1 data set?
And the ACORN 2.
And the ACORN 2. Absolutely, there are differences between the unadjusted records and the ACORN 1 data set and the ACORN 2 data set. They're published, they're on the public record.
Okay.
Bureau stands behind them.
Good.
So
okay,
I'm
so
not
what
going
is
to
the
do
margin
any
of error?
Mathematical gymnastics on it, but that's the records.
Well, it's important that we do mathematical gymnastics, by the way. What's your margin of error for your original data, ACORN 1 and ACORN 2?
Margin of error?
Yep.
So depending on what are you asking for? A margin error of what, on what?
Well, on your data. So according to the world,
so the data's observed. So this is data that's observed, and then we undertake a series of processes to bring that data into line so that it's a consistent long-term data record.
Yep. So these margin of errors matter.
Yeah, it really depends on what you're specifically.
Well, I'm talking about your raw data. Let's start off with your raw data.
Right.
So it's reported in here in your observations data that it's plus or minus half a degree.
Yep. It could be, Senator. It depends. I mean, these are.
This is what your observations data.
Dr. Johnson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Says here.
So
it's.
Senator
I
Rennick,
just have a point of order. Senator Rennick seems to be referring to a document, but none of the other participants in the committee know what he's talking about. I just wonder if you could, minimum,
yeah, sure. I'm happy to table this.
Just name the document,
yeah,
Senator
it's the
Rennick. 2011
observation practices. Yep, and then the other one I'm talking about is the independent peer review that was commissioned by the Gillard government in 2011, and a number of recommendations were made. And one of the recommendations in that was that the margin of error on the raw data be reduced from half a degree to 0.2 degrees, which is the World Meteorological Organisation's standard, plus or minus 0.2 degrees.
Right. Thanks,
now,
Senator
in here,
that just assists the rest of us in understanding where
you report plus or minus half a degree,
sort of.
And another recommendation out of the independent peer review was that the ACORN 1 and the ACORN 2, the adjusted data, was also reported with a margin of error or a confidence interval. Have you got a margin of error or a confidence interval with ACORN 1 and ACORN 2?
So again, it'd be helpful if I could have a look at the documents that you were talking about, Senator. But
you probably should be familiar with them because there were 31 recommendations.
Could I answer the question,
yep.
please? So all scientific instrumentation has tolerances, as you correctly point out.
Yep.
We publish those tolerances on our website, and we manage those to international best practice. So in addition to the 2010-11 review that you're talking about, there have been two other subsequent reviews into the measurement practices of the Bureau for the data sets that you refer to.
Yep.
And both of those reviews have showed that they're entirely robust, consistent with world's best practice, and entirely appropriate. So, they're on the record. Those were reviews commissioned by Minister Hunt and Minister Frydenberg.
Yep.
Since the last review that we had in 2017, I've also established an independent integrity advisory committee of world experts in measurement and statistics and mathematics to advise me to provide the assurance that I think the Bureau and the public require that the integrity of our data sets is of the highest order.
So can you come back to my original question? Is your margin of error plus or minus 0.2, which is the World Meteorological
Our practices are consistent with international best practice. Our practices have been validated.
Well, that's not what the numbers here are saying.
Our practices have been validated and endorsed by 3 independent reviews, Senator. And those reviews have been comprised of international experts. And I stand by the quality and integrity of those data sets.
Last question, thanks, Senator.
Okay. So basically, I will let me, basically vote all this time. So given on page 7 of the independent peer review.
Which one are we talking about?
So the independent peer review that was done in 2011.
Right.
Julia Gillard, right? The panel did not rate the observing practices. This is their words. An independent panel of 3 scientists. Okay. Did not rate Sorry, I'm just looking for a question here. Sorry. do not rate the observing practices among international best practice. So why are you working on rewriting old records when you should be trying to improve the quality assurance of measuring actual data? And if we don't quantify your actual margin of error or confidence level, which was recommended by the independent peer review,
So,
then
Senator, you're referring to
reporting ACORN 1 and ACORN 2?
You're referring to a review that was done in 2010-11. The Bureau is continuously improving its methods and practices. As I said before, 2 further independent reviews were commissioned in 2015 and 2017, comprising absolutely world-leading scientists across all the relevant areas on those panels. They have affirmed to both Ministers Hunt and Minister Frydenberg around the integrity of the Bureau's records, the practices that we use to obtain our weather observations, the way they're measured, the way they're quality assured, quality controlled, and then
what's their
delivered to the
confidence
product.
levels? So what is their confidence levels then?
We've already been over this. They're published and they're consistent with
Well,
world's best practice.
Gentlemen,
I've only got plus or minus half a degree on the actual data. I don't have any confidence levels for ACORN 1 and ACORN 2.
So-
Mr. Chair,
No.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
no, I will tell you we're over time. Senator Rennick, please put the remainder of your questions on notice. I recommend that they are detailed so the department can or Bureau can answer them in detail, and then we will move on.
Authorised G. Rennick People First Chermside.